Anytime we read an ayat of the Quran, always know that every ayat of the Quran has a context. It has verses that come before and verses that come after. And so often as Muslims, we read the ayat of the Quran, but like other people, we read it out of context. If you read the ayat of the Quran, كَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا, we have sent you as a just and a balanced and a good nation, you will learn much wisdom from that. But if you want to get the jewels, the meat of the ayat, then you have to read the ayat that comes before it and the ayat that comes after it, because it comes in a context. It doesn't come in a vacuum. Not only does it come in a context in the ayat itself, but it also comes in a historical context. So when this ayat was revealed in the second year of the Hijrah, in the city of Medina, something was happening. What was happening? What are the verses before it and what are the verses after it? What is the historical context of the ayat? And by learning the verses before, the verses after, and the historical context, then we get more of the wisdom and the jewels of the ayat. First, if you read Surah Al-Baqarah around the 143rd verse, around this area, 133, 134, 35, 36, in these areas, the verses that immediately come before this ayat, Allah is speaking about the Kiblah. The foolish among the people will say, what have turned you away from the Kiblah that you're used to? Historical context. According to Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anh and many Sahaba, for 16 or 17 months, the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam and the followers prayed toward the direction of Jerusalem. This was a test for the Arabs. These people who loved their nation, loved the Arabs, loved the Mecca, loved even the Kaaba, are tested by Allah. Allah gives them a Kiblah, and the Kiblah is in the city of Medina toward the north, the city of Jerusalem. That's a test. Because people who have in their a feeling of nationalism and they love their nation, then they love everything their nation to be the center of all activity. So Allah tested the Arabs from the very beginning by giving them a Kiblah away from Mecca. Then people begin to join the Ummah, and the Ummah begins to grow. Even some Jews become Muslims. They convert to Islam. Some Christians convert to Islam, and the ranks begin to grow. Pagans convert to Islam, and the ranks begin to grow. And then in the second year of Hijrah, right in a Salat, Allah reveals after this ayat, making you a just, balanced, good nation. Allah now abruptly changes the Qibla. And now if you in the city of Medina, notice that in the north is Jerusalem, but almost in the south, in the opposite way, is Mecca, is the Kaaba. So even in the prayer, it's recorded in history that in ruku, and when the ayat came, they changed from ruku. They didn't stand up. They stayed down in ruku and changed and turned in the very opposite direction. Now it becomes a trial for those who came into Islam, who used to be Christians and used to be Jews. Now the Qibla has changed. How will you act now? If you're with the Messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam, then you will follow him in the Qibla that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to him. So the ayats before this ayat, Allah has made you just and a balanced, a good nation, is the Qibla. After it, the ayat about the Qibla. Now, brothers and sisters, after my introduction, now I'm ready to give my talk. Yes, that was just an introduction.